And we are live. The dynamic duo is back at it once again this week for WWE. Welcome to Dual Dynasty.
Duo.
Exactly. So, fun fact, this is the original duo that started Monday Night Raw 2 years ago when we started all this here at BC WrestlePod. It was just me and my co-host for this morning / afternoon / evening, wherever you're watching this from. Minnie, this has been a crazy week for WWE. There's been a lot of development towards WrestleMania as it is next week, which is crazy to say. And I don't know. We had some new matches, we had some developments, and we also had some not so great stuff that we also got to talk about too. WWE was weird for me personally this past week.
Wasn't good. A lot of it felt like filler.
Which is kind of crazy because of the fact that Mania is literally next weekend, but we'll break all that down as we go through Raw and SmackDown. But before we get into all of that, if you like what you see on the screen here and you want to see more, pretty much go on any social media site at BC WrestlePod, where you can find our report cards for all the shows and the pay-per-view, as well as out-of-context clips that will totally not come and bite us in the butt down the road later in line. So it probably will, but it's okay. Let's just get into it, because I am raring to get to SmackDown, because SmackDown this week was just the land where promos go to die. We'll talk about that when we get there, but we got to go through Monday Night Raw, which is the final stop on the European tour, because then SmackDown was in. So let's talk about our final international date for the European tour. So Monday Night Raw this week, it kicks off like, well, what most international Raws have been the last couple of weeks. The face-off between Cody Rhodes and John Cena on the mic this time. And this time they actually added some development here. John Cena playing into the memes that he has a golden shovel and just buries everybody he ends up being in a feud with during the Super Cena era. Cody firing back. We are taking subtle shots and mentions of AEW and Tony Khan, which was kind of crazy in all of this. But then this promo did the one thing that I wanted to. And Cody Rhodes and John Cena actually physically got involved, with Cody Rhodes standing over John Cena.
Stardust. He mentioned Stardust.
He did. So they actually went there for this one. Cody Rhodes ends his promo segment on top.
Wasn't there a subtle hint to he who should not be named Vince McMahon? Wait, I said it.
Yeah, exactly. He's somebody who's no longer here, because John Cena mentioned in the promo that he makes billions. He makes millions for, he makes empires for billionaires, and Cody Rhodes just takes money from their kids, that line being a reference to Tony Khan. And then Cody Rhodes coming back with, it said, you were the chosen one by someone in the office who's no longer here, which is Vince McMahon. So crazy stuff. But again, Cody stands tall by the end of this promo. We shall see if we get any more interaction between these two before Mania, but
we most likely will.
We probably will. If not, I'm not sure if this week, but definitely next week on the Go Home shows for sure.
Isn't this night 2 main event?
Yeah, so Cody and John Cena are main eventing night 2, so they for the undisputed WWE Championship. So I'm pretty sure we'll get one more segment within the next 2 weeks leading into their match on night 2. But from here, we get into our first match of the evening, where we see the return of the biggest strong boy himself, Tyler Bate, being paired back up with Pete Dunne, and New Catch Republic is back. And they end up taking on the New Day. I've missed Tyler Bate. I love him so much. But unfortunately, because it is the New Day, I knew that New Catch Republic wasn't going to win.
Or they lose and they realize they can't win without Big E.
That is also very true as well. Before we go on to the next thing, hi, Nick. I mean, I will take that. I am the Big E of BC WrestlePod.
That's not broken, though.
That is very true. And we're going to keep it that way because we don't want a broken neck.
No, we don't.
No, so I agree with you, Minnie. I think there's two options here. Either New Day become champs, or they lose and then, they realize that they can't do it without it. Yeah, they really haven't done much with them as champions, so it's kind of not helping the situation either, honestly, Nick. And I would not be surprised if we get this on as a championship match on the Raw Go Home before Mania.
Or the Raw after Mania.
That also will probably be a thing too. But it was at this point that Jay knew Jimmy had messed up.
What's with I'm a Jedi, I'm a Sith.
Jay already knew. He's like, this is going to end badly, but I got to hype up because he's my brother. But this little interaction here was really good. And I was like, I knew some stuff was going to go down after the match because I knew Jimmy was not out as the winner here.
Oh, it would have been really funny if you'd have like in between these things, you just show the aftermath of what happens later as like the subtle foreshadowing meme.
I mean, that is very fair. I mean, yeah, unfortunately, there was some stuff in between this because I was like, you know what? I could definitely do that, but there were some stuff in between that we do need to talk about. Yeah, War Raiders well, okay. The problem is with they go to AEW, in my opinion. I'm afraid
they
they
get
would
even
also,
more screwed over.
or they'll get sent to ROH. But honestly, TNA could use some more men's tag teams because we only have we have 4 at the moment, but it doesn't hurt to have one more. Now, what we do need, just like most promotions, is we need actual women's tag teams. So if any women's tag teams want to go over to TNA, I'm not going to be upset about it. But we're going to put a pin in the Uso brothers because we're going to talk about them in a little bit. Ludwig had a premonition that on Friday, he was about to be involved in some drama.
Yep.
But no, here, Ludwig wants a match at WrestleMania, and I'm saying this right now because we still have yet got confirmation. Give me my ladder match for the IC Championship. Ooh, okay, we're going to talk about this in a little bit, Nick. Here's my problem with the Jey Uso situation. Why does he need Jimmy in this feud to make this match relevant? He won the Rumble, has the underdog storyline. Jay has unfortunately underachieved. And I don't know if that's a fact of the performers involved or the fact that the writing and the creative has not been the best for this because it's been Gunther beating up Jay almost every single week for the last month. And when we get there, while I do agree that what happened after Jimmy and Gunther's match definitely made it more interesting and more personal for Jay, I feel that that time and energy could have been put in from the beginning, but we'll get there when we get there.
At least we're getting something.
Finally, but I feel like it's like we are 2 weeks out. Y'all had this group project ready to go. You were assigned it like 2 weeks ago, and now we're just starting to put into the work so we don't fail. But yeah. Let's get this ladder match for this IC championship. Do it, Triple H. It's not like any of the other women mid-carders are going to defend their titles, which I'm gonna rip into main roster when we get to SmackDown, but we got to wait for that one. So we get Gunther versus Jimmy. Jimmy unfortunately loses. And I'm going to go back to this real quick. So Jay knew that Jimmy was not walking out of here. So this was literally 10 minutes ago where we had the brothers backstage going back. And then this is where we're at. Oh, my goodness. Oh, but it gets crazier, too. So
hey, look, his face matches his shirt.
For reals. But yeah, Jay being zip-tied. Gunther choking him out, making Jimmy bleed, licking his blood like a weird vampire. On the one hand, this has made it more interesting and made it more personal, but at the same time, we could have used this same angle and time and energy into making a very unique story for Jay and Gunther that did not revolve around Jay being beat up every single week for no reason.
I mean, I can see why Jay's getting his ass beat every week. They had to rebuild Gunther's aura, but he got his aura back. I'm gonna say that Gunther out here aura farming, but at the expense of the boy Big Jim.
Jimmy has been banned to the Shadow Realm for the remainder of his Mania build.
Yeah, Jimmy got put in the he lost the duel. He lost a shadow deal, dude. He tried to use the Seal of Orichalcos and it didn't work.
No, it didn't.
Real nerds, you understand what I'm talking about.
Oh my goodness, our childhoods. We love that. Am I still looking forward to the match at Mania? Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I'm waiting to watch Jimmy super kick him 19,000 times to win. Let's go.
But I feel like I can say this for the majority of the matches we're getting, outside of probably Io, Rhea, and Bianca, the stories leading into Mania have been kind of whack. More on that to come in a little bit.
I'll disagree on that one.
Okay, maybe whack's not the correct word, but I feel that
some stories are definitely a lot better than others.
And some are probably going to be like, oh my gosh, we got to kick it off to make everybody interested. Let's do stuff. So we'll talk about that when we get there at SmackDown, because SmackDown was all over the place with that. The Judgment Day actually win a match, but more importantly, Penta takes a pin.
It's the first pin he's taken.
That is exactly true. So we ended up having Penta and Braun Breaker versus the Judgment Day and Finn Balor. And Dominic and Finn pick up the victory here because...
accidentally spears Penta.
Yeah, which allows... Seriously. And then later on in the show, we get Penta and Braun confronting each other backstage. But the Judgment Day are in such a kumbaya moment. It is going to be so juicy when the inevitable kumbaya gets broken up, because I'm pretty sure we're going to get told that there's going to be a multi-person for the IC title. And then we're going to start fighting each other leading into it. And then everybody going to fight at Mania. It's going to be crazy.
Or it's just going to be Penta versus Braun.
That is also very true, which I'm also okay with too. But Liv is playing these games with Dominic because Dominic is trying to be chill about it. And he's like, no, Finn cannot be the one to get these opportunities. You need to go do something about it.
Yeah. She's trying to make sure what's best for her mans.
That is very true. So, but Finn and Dominic are bestest of friends right now. We'll see if that stays the same tomorrow night on Raw.
All right. As much as we want to shit on Logan Paul, his finisher looks pretty dope.
That is very true.
I don't know if it's because AJ Styles was taking it or it's actually just a dope finisher.
Yeah.
Better than the Lucky Punch.
That is very true. So basically, this segment can be summed up as AJ calls out Logan Paul. Logan Paul comes out. Logan Paul makes some digs at AJ. They brawl. Logan stands tall, which gives us our official confirmation that it will be AJ versus Logan Paul at WrestleMania. Still no word on which night it's going to be on, but that is the match we're getting. That's all I have to say.
If you haven't seen it, look up the Pulverizer. It's actually a pretty good looking move. As much as we want to hate on the fucking dude, it's infuriating how good he is at this wrestling thing.
Yeah, it is. So this Raw went through really fast because previewing tomorrow night, we are back in the States where we are having, the return of Seth Rollins is going to cut a promo. El Grande Americano is returning as well into the ring for in-ring action. But also we have an Women's Intercontinental Championship as is going to be defending her championship against Bayley.
Oh, I forgot that belt even existed.
Well, apparently, so did SmackDown, because we're going to talk about SmackDown because these two are going to have this championship match on Monday, and then they'll be tagging together on SmackDown, which is kind of crazy. But that is a preview of what Monday Night Raw is going to look like for tomorrow, which leads us into the main event, and probably for me, the best thing to talk about for this Monday Night Raw. In the UK, it is the Women's World Championship match. Io defending her title against Rhea Ripley with Bianca Belair as special guest referee. I really like this match. I already figured that this was a match to have, not for both women to do crazy stuff, but more so to get to the triple that we're going to be getting at Mania for this championship, which ultimately ended up after Io crashed into Bianca and Rhea purposely crashing into Bianca. Bianca is like, F this, I'm out, we're done, causes a double disqualification, has the bell be rung to throw out the match, is not happy, and she destroyed both Io and Bianca for Monday Night Raw to go off the air. And so I'm like, tomorrow night, we better be getting this confirmation that we're getting this triple threat at Mania. But yeah, so by the way, shout out to Bianca for selling getting destroyed by Rhea. That was great.
Everybody who sells this week have been really good.
No, absolutely. So that has been Monday Night Raw. Now, let's open this can of worms for this week for SmackDown, because good God almighty.
Yeah, what happened? Let's get to the shit show that was Friday night Botox Skeletor.
Okay, there was a lot of things that went down on SmackDown, so apologies if we went through Raw kind of fast, but honestly, Raw was kind of filler for the most part.
Yeah, it was filler.
So now let's get into the can of worms that was SmackDown. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the what the fuck was that. So let's start off with what kicked off the show, where we have CM Punk calling Paul Heyman out to the ring because he wants to cash in his favor. Paul Heyman's like, I know what you want, but you're going to have to say it in front of Roman and everything. So this literally sets up what's going to happen at the end of the show. Paul Heyman, I love you on the mic. You are one of my favorite characters in this WWE universe. It's just, so we are going to revisit to Mr. Heyman and Mr. Punk later down when we get to the very end of the show. But this literally is setting things up because Punk wants to tell Roman to his face, but Roman's not here at the moment. And so we will come back to everybody involved in this later when we get to the final part of the show. Because first, the debut of Rey Fenix is here.
Do you like how him and Penta logos kind of match up?
Well, it makes sense because
the other week, like their logos are very similar.
Yeah. And to be fair, like we know that eventually they're going to put Penta and Rey back together to form the Lucha Bros, but both of them are going to be on their own for a little bit, which I'm happy about because I think both of them deserve to go on a singles run really quickly before they get in to become a tag team. So Rey Fenix's debut match is against the one and only Nathan Frazier of NXT. He's one half of the current tag team, the NXT tag team champions, him and Axiom forming Fraction. This match was solid. I already knew this match was going to be fantastic once I saw that Nathan was being paired up against Rey, and I'm just like, it's going to be a good match.
So Ray, I'm gonna put it out there. I'm speaking for the devs for the WWE 2K games. You just gave them all massive headaches with your goddamn entrance. What he does on his entrance, the devs are gonna have a field day with that one.
Oh, absolutely. Which
It was a
we
dope
love. Oh, absolutely. So we get the debuting Ray Fenix versus Nathan Frazier. Fantastic match. There was only one part of the match where it was quite scary when Nathan went through the middle rope for a rope dive and his feet got caught. But Ray Fenix saved this man's life. This was good. This was fantastic. Ray Fenix, of course, picks up the victory here. And then afterwards cuts a promo where the biggest point to hear is that he's always wanted to say this, that Ray Fenix is WWE. And I cannot wait to see what they do on the singles run before we get them back as the Lucha Bros.
He did a pile driver, didn't he? Like a brainbuster pile driver move.
Yep.
We're getting riskier moves in WWE, fellas.
I love it. And then poor Dragon Lee is just sitting somewhere in the corner watching all this go down. Dragon, they shouldn't have called him up because if they weren't going to have a plan for him. He could have done fun stuff in NXT, but I digress.
Oh, yeah. He could be doing fun stuff now.
The latest DLC to the next Yakuza game is here. I'm just kidding. So Captain Drew McIntyre is here, and he cuts this pre-tape promo talking about how every interaction with Damian Priest has always been from behind. Damian attacking Drew when he cashed in at Elimination Chamber, Royal Rumble. So he wants to have a face-to-face with Damian and to finally face-to-face him and not attack him from behind. I love this eye patch. I need Drew to keep it for the next couple of weeks.
I feel like he should be on the bottle of a Captain Morgan bottle.
Seriously.
Captain Drew McIntyre.
I can never be mad at Drew. I love Drew. He seems to be having a lot of fun with what he does. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love this. I love Drew so much. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm going to save this picture as a meme. But we get LA Knight versus Tama Tonga, which I already knew LA Knight was going to walk away the winner here. But this picture is my meme that we're going to save. This man is so intense. I love him.
And the wife says you get to go out with the boys.
Yes, this is going to be me tomorrow night when we announce that triple threat between Rhea, Bianca, and Io officially and get the graphic. I have nothing else more to say. This picture says it all. I loved it. Meme. Paul Heyman is just always stressed out every time he's on screen because Seth comes in, he talks to Seth, and Seth's like, so what's his favor right here? And Paul's like, you'll find out later, I promise. Good on you, Seth. And funny enough, this is the most dressed down Seth I have ever seen too. He's wearing gray. It's like kind of normal. I mean, he has the Bray Wyatt boots on and the big old sunglasses, but this is like the least extravagant I have seen Seth be, which is kind of crazy. But he realizes, like, I'm just here to visit on SmackDown. I ain't about to be fighting and everything. So this is going to be crazy. So from here, we get into... So I had to slow it down to get this picture right here, but we get another vignette. And this right here, I was like, Aleister Black is coming back, y'all. It's very soon. I cannot wait. I love the macabre reference here because anybody who knows anything about, like, ye old, especially Shakespearean theater, when someone dies, you put the 10 pennies on the eyes and things like that. So I love the reference here. Cannot wait to see Aleister Black return. And according to reports, it might be sooner than later because some people are talking about now that a certain match is no longer happening at Mania, we might see one of the participants fight a returning Aleister Black. More on that when we get to that segment. Okay, Minnie, this is where the crux and the majority of this conversation is happening. Okay, so we get Charlotte and Tiffany promo battle round 3. And I already knew before they even started, first of all, this Chicago crowd would not let Charlotte talk, which is not crazy to say.
I just noticed Charlotte's outfit. She's basically out there in her underwear. What the fuck?
This is crazy.
Why are they basically wearing the same shit?
We talked about this before that they need to stop being dressed the same because it doesn't work for me. And
okay, I have a joke and I apologize to everybody in advance, including the 2 females on screen. This is not a dig at you, but why does this look like before and after somebody does drugs?
I'm just like, I mean, you're not wrong. And it was, in our group chat, someone pointed this out. But before they even started, I knew something was up and the energy was not there. The Chicago crowd would not let her talk. But then, this was bad. They went off script so bad and it did not work well for either woman. Yeah. So I had a conversation with a friend of mine and they described it to me perfectly. This was not Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton having this promo off. This was Ashley and Jessica, which are the government names for Charlotte and Tiffany, going at each other. And I'm just like, this was awkward. This was not good. The digs were very low hanging fruit. This was just bad. And to me, this has just, I'm still looking on paper. I still think the match is going to be great, but I no longer care about whatever we're trying to do between these two, like feud and story wise. This was so bad, Minnie. Oh my gosh. I don't know what else. I want to hear additional thoughts from you. Like, what happened? What went wrong here? Like, what? I don't even know.
They're trying to think like they got all the promo skills and they don't. Like, yeah, we could do this. Yeah, let's go out there and just make fun of each other. And Kaiser's in my DMs. You all I sound like I was listening to a fight from White Chicks.
I really hated this. And normally I haven't been the biggest fan of the promo offs between these two anyways. But this one was really bad. Like, nobody walked away looking good from this one. And honestly, this promo has made me so disinterested in where we're spending the next 2 weeks before this match. At this point, and it's really sad to say, I'm ready for them to be done with this feud after Mania, have the match at Mania, and then we call it a day. Do not let these two come back near each other until we figure out what we're going to do better next time we want to see these two fight, because this is not it.
I mean, this promo was so bad it made Wade Barrett look bad.
That's the other thing too. Poor Wade. He has to stand here in the middle of this and try to moderate it. Both girls went way off script, and Wade's just like, oh crap, what are we doing? What is happening? Oh God. And it makes Wade look bad too, which sucks because Wade is actually pretty good. I like Wade on commentary, and we've seen him before moderate some things too, so he's not bad at it. It's so frustrating.
You're end up like you always do. Like your marriage is 0-3. Well, Kaiser's in my DM.
Kaiser taking some strays this week from on SmackDown. He's like, what did I do?
He wants to get down with Botox Skeletor. John, I'm stealing that meme. I'm sorry. It was awesome. I loved it.
Oh my goodness. This was so bad, and honestly, this has really soured me. I'm still going to watch the match. I'm still excited for the match, but I want these two to be done by the end. At this point, I feel like Charlotte shouldn't win at this point. I think Tiffany needs to retain this championship because she's already struggling for credibility right now. But
if she loses, she's getting buried. That's where it is. Like, if she loses, like, she will not be on the roster much longer, which sucks because we saw how poppin' she was when she first came up, was at the Elimination Chamber.
Yes, and then even in NXT, she was fantastic. Since beating Nia, and since being entered into this,
let her just be the Barbie character she's known for.
Exactly. Just let her be Mean Girl. Now, when I said last week that I wanted Tiffany to be Mean Girl about it, this was not how I wanted it to go. But I digress. We have 2 more weeks. Let's just see what happens. Don't put either one of these two on the mic for the next 2 weeks. Just let them fight or do individual things. Don't put them back together because you have main roster SmackDown. You have disinterested me in the story building aspect of this feud. So this is why I wish you were here. So you could talk about a crosswave, but Tiffany crushed Charlotte in the moment and made Charlotte look bad.
Wait, I thought you were working.
Yeah, that was the other thing too. Once she brought up Rick, everyone lost their minds. This was not good. And there's no saving this. I'm sorry. Like, they can try to do it in the next 2 weeks, but I feel like it's too little too late. Let's just get through the match at Mania and then we call it a day. Don't let these two feud for a while.
Coming out and start beating each other with steel chairs and shit. Maybe I'll be slightly more interested.
Yeah, but this made everybody, including Wade, look bad. This was a massive down point of this week's SmackDown. And to me, this made it not even better. So we're backstage with Nick Aldis, who tells us that Liv and Raquel will be defending their women's tag team championships at Mania. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that's cool. I actually like that. We get more tag team matches. I don't like who we end up having as the teams in this gauntlet match next week for it. So we basically have we've taken women from the Raw too to be on here. So this gauntlet match is going to include Kaden and Katana, which I love them, but we have barely seen them on television. And I'm just like, I don't think anybody will care if we have this match at Mania.
Wait,
if they win.
Aren't the other two going to be wrestling each other for the title?
Okay, I'm going to skip over Lyra and Bailey really quickly, and I'm going to go with this. Then, of course, we have what's left of Pure Fusion Collective with Shayna and Zoe, which I'm happy to see both of them. we have Me and B-Fab, which I actually like their dynamic, and they've established that the Secret Service agents of Piper Niven and Alba Fire, which I'm like, okay, cool. I actually will be fine with that. And then you have Natalia and Maxine Dupree in this match. Honestly, this is crazy to me. But yeah, let's go back to Lyra and Bailey teaming up to get this tag team championship match. They are fighting each other on tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw for an Intercontinental Championship. What the flip do you mean they are also going to be fighting to see if they get a tag team championship opportunity match at WrestleMania? What in the backwardsness is this? I am pissed. I'm like, y'all couldn't give Lyra a actual decent feud to head into Mania. So this tells me that Lyra's going to retain. Bailey and Lyra are probably going to win and go to Mania to face Liv and Raquel because they kind of got beef with them on Raw. But at the same time, I'm just like, Lyra's probably not going to defend her championship. And unless we get some development in the next 2 weeks, it seems that Chelsea's also going to be missing Mania too and not defending her championship either. I'm like, what the hell is all of this?
Why bring the mid-card belts up if we're not going to do nothing with the goddamn mid-card belts?
Exactly. Between Raw and SmackDown at least has had a better job of having Chelsea defend that thing. Now, granted, most of them have been against Michin, which I'm not upset at because all those matches were bangers. And it seems if we're going to get that, if Lyra's not defending her championship, and she probably is going to end up being with Bailey to go after Liv and Raquel in that tag team match, then that means that Chelsea needs to be on Mania. And if the rumors are to be reported, I think we actually might be getting Chelsea versus Zelina for the championship, which is cool and everything. I just hate that we haven't properly built
proper feud for it. But at the same time, no offense to Lyra Valkyria, the reason why the United States Championship looks better is because the president Chelsea Green has been one of the best things that's been happening. Like, no offense to Lyra Valkyria, Chelsea Green just went, United States Championship, watch this. Because she's like the best character actor in the fucking...
Chelsea is so damn good at everything that she's given and everything that she does. And I love her as champion. Though, of course, my Puerto Rican-ness in me wants to see Zelina actually hold a singles championship. But again, I'm more okay with that. But poor Lyra, man. Like, I thought we were going to get Lyra versus Becky, which would have been really fun for Mania. But this also... By the way, also this pairing of Lyra and Bailey also kind of throws into loop because I thought, based on everything that we got going into Elimination Chamber and everything happening, I thought Bailey and Roxanne Perez were going to have a match because they were feuding in NXT and on the main roster leading into Elimination Chamber. But now it seems that Bailey is being paired with Lyra, so that doesn't give Bailey a singles match. And then I don't know what's happening with Roxanne because she didn't qualify for the ladder match for the NXT Women's North American Championship happening at Stand and Deliver. So I think, unless they fix something, it seems that Roxanne's missing and is missing Stand and Deliver and Mania, which is kind of crazy. What happened to the feud that we got between her and Bailey? That's wild to me.
I don't know, man. There's just too much going on, man.
SmackDown has been whacked this week. The women's mid-card titles have not been treated the way that they should. Chelsea has been doing the best job. She is the best women's champion right now, and her character is fantastic. Poor Lyra has got the short end of the stick. I hate to say this. I love Lyra to death, but I still, seeing where have we gone with this, I don't think it would have fared any better. But honestly, I would have preferred to. Honestly, I think you could have done more if Dakota Kai ended up being the inaugural champion, to be honest. I think Dakota would have been more interested to be doing something with, but, I digress with all of this. My money is probably on Bailey and Lyra winning, going to Mania, because they already have beef with Raquel and Liv, but, SmackDown could pull fast one. But honestly, it's really, let's be real. I think it's really just between Lyra and Bailey or Piper and Alba who is going to Mania to face for the tag titles. Those are the only two picks I have. Everybody else is here for cannon fodder. We leave. This is a pretty good match. Motor City Machine Guns win. They are now number one contenders for the Street Profits Tag Team Championships. So cool. I love that. Moving on.
Yep.
It's the same site. I'm not as mad as the men's tag team division that I am with the men's, but the women's. But at the same time, though, we're just doing the same thing. It's like no proper long storytelling, no feud. It's just like we're getting lots. We've had like multiple number one contenders matches for these tag titles, like over the course of like the last 3 weeks. So are we just going to keep cycling through? I'm like, give me a proper feud. Like that's the problem I'm having. Like we're getting fun. We have really good tag teams, but we're not really getting any proper feuds. So this championship match will probably end up being on the SmackDown Go Home before Mania. I'm gonna be completely honest, so wouldn't be surprised. But anyways, we move on. So this I already knew was only gonna go one way. Before the match even started, we have a brawl between Naomi and Jade. Naomi then gets to have her match against B-Fab, beats B-Fab in 2 minutes. Then, more fighting happens. Jade comes out, points at the Mania sign. Nick Aldis makes it official that at WrestleMania, it is going to be Jade Cargill versus Naomi, which marks the first non-title women's one-on-one match to be in Mania for quite some time, which is really great. I'm also very upset at the internet because they are saying that Naomi and Jade do not deserve the spot on the Mania card. And to that, I respond to you with the proverbial middle finger up to all of y'all. I'm like, you just don't want to see black women succeed. I'm just kidding. Now, I will say, as much as I love Jade, I feel like Naomi needs to win this match more than Jade does.
I feel like Jade's going to win.
I mean, I can see that. I hope Naomi wins because we just turned her heel. I feel like it would do better for her to beat Jade. And also, in my opinion, it gives Jade somewhere to go if she were to lose and then have to build herself back up than to win. But I'm still excited for this match. I'm actually looking forward to this match, to be completely honest. I am happy to see that we're getting lots of women's matches on Mania this year, but at the same time, we need to do better when it comes to the builds of feuds and stories for them. This one, I've actually enjoyed the feud and the story we've gotten so far. Moving on, the bisexual Undertaker in a pre-tape promo says that he is going to fight Drew McIntyre on site. So they will see each other next week. Nothing more to say to that. Love you, Damian, forever. I cried here because Kevin Owens lets us know that he has to get a surgery on his neck. He's been dealing with his neck injury for 4 months, which thus leads us to Nick Aldis telling Randall Keith Orton that he no longer has a match at Mania. I am so sad that Kevin Owens is going to be out until further notice. And I was actually really looking forward to Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton. So Randy, as of right now, doesn't have
a neck injury that happened 4 months ago in a regular match. Do you know what happened 3 months ago?
The ladder spot.
And he took the Alabama slam through the ladder.
And then after that, he took the spot on the chair during his and Sammy's match at Elimination Chamber. We wish speedy recovery to Kevin Owens. Randy Orton needs to be on the card. It just sucks that all this happened. So one of two things is probably going to happen. It might be Randy versus Nick Aldis because he RKO'd Nick Aldis after all of this. Or if the other reports would be true, and the one I prefer, have Randy Orton fight Aleister Black.
I don't know what else you can do.
I don't know. This just sucks. Poor Randy and poor Kevin. Especially Kevin, man. We'll see you when you get better. Love you, Kevin. Is crazy. This match was also crazy. I'm mad because this was my favorite match up until the ending. The ending was just anticlimactic. But in these types of matches, Jacob Fatu finally adds a loss to Braun's last man standing match record because Jacob Fatu ends up being the winner of this, which is also a #1 contenders match for LA Knight's United States Championship. And because Jacob beats Braun and wins the match, at WrestleMania for the United States Championship, it is LA Knight defending the title against the Samoan Werewolf Jacob Fatu. Yo, this match kind of has me excited. This match is going to slap.
I kind of hope Jacob Fatu wins.
I'm kind of rooting for Jacob to win here too.
I love my boy LA Knight. Yeah, but
Jacob can do such a crazy run as United States champion.
We're gonna have he can pull off a Gunter-like run with the United States Championship.
Oh, I would be so here for it. I'm rooting for the Samoan Werewolf to win this championship. Again, I'm in the same boat as you, Minnie. I love our boy LA Knight. Yeah. But at the same time, I want to see Jacob win this and go on a tear through the SmackDown roster. Low-key, I'm excited for this match. And the crazy thing is we've been teasing this for a while now, but now it's official. So crossing fingers, 2 weeks left. Everybody stay healthy so we can get this match at Mania.
Bring back the classic. He's not going to use his inside voice. I'm going to send his ass outside. Yeah.
So I'm excited for this match. Can't wait for it to happen. Previewing what's happening next week on SmackDown. Again, we have the women's tag team gauntlet match to determine Liv and Raquel's opponents for Mania. We get another singles match between Rey Fenix, and this time he's taking on Berto of Los Garza. So I actually think that's going to be a fire because it's Mexican wrestler versus Mexican wrestler. So y'all know they're going to tear the house down. According to reports, it seems that Rey's first official feud might be against Andrade, which I will not be upset about. I'm going to be completely honest. Andrade versus Rey would be crazy.
Yep.
Then, of course, we get the Damian and Captain Drew McIntyre face-to-face next week, which leads us into the final part of SmackDown, which was this final promo. This favor gets revealed. First, Roman Reigns tells Paul Heyman that he wants to know what the favor is, but before he could do that, he wants Punk to get down here, so he wants to know what the favor is and tells Roman that he's just here to spectate, but he's also here to find out what this favor is. Cue CM Punk coming down to the ring, and we come to find out in this promo that the favor that Punk is cashing in is that Paul Heyman has to be at CM Punk's side, ringside, for this triple threat at Mania. So the wise man is not going to be in the corner of Roman Reigns like he always is. He's going to be in the corner of CM Punk. Roman's not having it. Seth is in the corner laughing his butt off, and Punk ends up just, we get a brawl. Punk and Seth face each other. Roman's on the floor, and that is how, with, Paul Heyman looking like he got caught cheating with the other woman.
I have a feeling that he's going to turn on Punk in the match.
This is going to be an interesting one for sure. Paul Heyman is either going to screw Roman or screw Punk out of the win in this match.
I just realized Punk's shoes, those are dope.
Right? Punk has always been my favorite when it comes to the shoe game. I am going to message him and be like, hey, I saw those shoes on SmackDown. Tell me where you got them, please, because they is fire.
Him and Roman, they've had some fire shoe game.
For reals. But this is the image that ends SmackDown this week. And that brings us to the end of a very weird week of WWE television.
Yeah.
This was a rough week for sure. Raw was entertaining, but it was mostly filler. SmackDown was no in between. There was parts that were fantastic. And then there was but the bad stuff was really bad. So, oh my goodness. But like 2 weeks away is kind of crazy. And we also have a crazy week this week here at BC WrestlePod. Tomorrow evening, you can catch myself and Adolfo. We will be heading on back over to Japan as both of us review the New Japan Pro Wrestling Sakura Genesis show, where we have some new champions and new stories going into the next show, which is the following week in Chicago, Illinois, with Windy City Riot. So that is tomorrow night at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. On Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, the AEW crew of myself, the Professor, and JVL will be reviewing AEW's Dynasty pay-per-view, which is going on tonight, which is going to be crazy. Then on Wednesday, we get a double dose of reviews at 5:30 p.m. Pacific is the NXT review, as we are also 2 weeks out from Stand and Deliver. And then later on that evening at 8 p.m. Pacific, the CMLL crew will be reviewing the most recent episode of, as well as talk about some of the CMLL talent that had matches at MLW's Battle Riot last night, and also talk about some news in the world of wrestling when it comes to Lucha Libre. Then on Friday, you can catch the TNA crew as we review another exciting episode of TNA Wrestling, as we are getting closer and closer to Rebellion in Los Angeles, which is it's going to be a lot of fun. And then come on back next Sunday, as we will be talking about this past week's WWE. And then the madness will begin, as we will officially next Sunday be in the middle of WrestleMania Hell Week. So stay tuned this Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific as I drop our whole WrestleMania schedule and who's involved with all of that. It's going to be such a great time. I cannot wait. But me and Minnie go and get up on out of here. So we hope that you all watching at home enjoy the rest of your day, evening, morning, wherever you're at. And from us here at Dual Dynasty, as well as the rest of the BC WrestlePod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will catch you later this week for more BC WrestlePod goodness. But until then, say adios. And Minnie, remind the folks at home, why do we do what we do here at BC WrestlePod?
Well, Mikey, we do what we do here at BC WrestlePod simply because.
We'll catch you tomorrow.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's going to happen next time? Well, you're going to have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.